I bought two refurbished limited edition PS4 consoles from GameStop, and in this video, we're going to unbox them, test them out, tear them down, and see if they're worth the money. Now, unfortunately, the thing with GameStop is they're always doing something sketchy, whether it's sending out broken consoles or just intentionally scratching up consoles. It's just always something. But guys, let's see what we find today. Now guys, we have two consoles here. We have the PS4 Slim Days of Play Edition and also the PS4 Original Uncharted Edition. So both very cool consoles. Let's hope they're in good condition, but let's start with the Uncharted console. And starting out, this is a bad sign. Yeah, console's just shifting back and forth. Oh, man. And by the way, this did have a shipping box around it. I already took it out, but let's go ahead and see what's inside. All right. Oh, that's a good sign. We have the original controller to start with. That's cool. So we got the nice blue here. We've got a million GameStop stickers on the bottom as per usual. Then on the back, we have this entire piece is just worn off. Wow, this thing's been used a lot. They must have swapped the analog sticks because they feel not as worn as they should, and they also feel a little bit different, so that's not bad. But yeah, everything feels pretty good there. Also got our power cord, which looks like the correct power cord, I believe. Got a blue charging cable, HDMI cable as well. And of course, below it, we have the console just sliding around. Great. I think the other side is glossy as well, but let's go ahead and please don't be magic erased. Please don't be magic erased, please. And wow, it's not. Hold up, that's unheard of. A refurbished console from GameStop that's not scratched up and actually looks pretty solid. We have a few scuffs and scratches here and there, like one right there, a few over there and there, but honestly not bad at all. And the front looks pretty good. And then flipping to the back, it looks like the warranty seals are gone, so it looks like they have opened this up and done something to it. No idea what, but it also got a solution on it, like I guess they cleaned it, but they used some sort of cleaning solution, which is not bad. It seems to be in pretty good condition. Let's go ahead and put that one to the side though, and move on to this one over here. Now I'm like 99% sure the Days of Play edition is very glossy, so hopefully they did not destroy this one. Oh, and wow, we got the correct controller here too. That's amazing. All right, it's a blue controller. Actually, is this the correct one? Well, let me check. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, man, it's... Days of Play one is fully blue, and it also has cool symbols on the front. This one, oh, and this one, no way, dude. And so it begins. Here we go, guys. All right, so you can see the touchpad here is just like scratched to death by Magic Eraser, I guess. It's just, it doesn't look great. So that's not ideal that we paid extra for a limited edition and they gave us the controller that looks close, but not quite. So your average person probably would not notice this is not the correct controller. Now, guys, the whole controller situation with GameStop is pretty frustrating because it's a common theme with them. You know, on one hand, it's not a big deal if they send you a standard black PS4 and you get a red controller. It's kind of like, who cares? But when you buy a limited edition console, you're expecting all the limited edition stuff like the controller because it's a huge part of it. And even worse is the listing itself shows the special controller. The description talks about the special controller and the gold symbols on it, and there's nowhere in there where it says you're not getting the special controller. So it's frustrating. But anyways, we got our charging cord here, our power cord, our HDMI cable. Looks like the cords are correct, which is a good start for GameStop. And here's the bottom of the console, and oh no, I gotta say from first glance that's not a great sign. They're missing a rubber foot there, but not a huge deal. Let's flip it over and do the reveal. Oh, yikes. All right, so first of all here, let me just put this to the side. You can see that the bubble wrap left some, I don't know why, but that big bubble wrap always leaves major damage to the console. It's not damage, but it's just like, just look at that. That just looks bad. But even past that, there's scratches all over this thing. Fortunately, it's not Magic Eraser scratches, but it's like, ooh, this thing has been well loved, well used, and it's actually very dirty. Like, it's not a really clean console. It's just like dust and grime everywhere. Now, the positive thing here is GameStop did not Magic Erase this console, and for a little bit of context, in case you don't know, Magic Eraser is basically like sandpaper, and GameStop in the past has essentially Magic Erased all of their refurbished consoles. I'll show some photos on the screen. You can see this one looks really bad. This one's also horrible. This one's bad. I could go on and on with examples. I've seen it a ton of times, but maybe they stopped doing that. I'm not quite sure. And then, of course, the warranty seal is gone from the back, so I'm sure they opened it up and did something to it. But guys, let's go ahead and start with the Uncharted 4 console, plug it in, turn it on, and hopefully it works. All right, guys, console's plugged in. Let's see if it turns on. No way. Are you kidding me? Okay, so no power. Hold on. Let me verify my plug. It's plugged in, right? Okay, it was just unplugged. I had it plugged in earlier, but I unplugged it. All right, that was close. Okay, there we go. It's turning on now. All right, console's booting up. Looks like it was factory reset. Let's go ahead and set this thing up. All right, guys, so we are booted up here, but the controller just seems to have stopped working. It's connected. It's player one, and it won't click. All right, reboot. I booted it back up and now it's working. All right, but guys, let's go ahead and start with the internet here because it was a little weird earlier. I was trying to connect to the internet when I set it up and it wasn't working, so let me try that again. All right, guys, so I think the LAN port might be broken on this console because I have a LAN cable connected for my internet, and I was seriously using this 3 hours ago and it worked perfectly fine, so I'm not sure why it would just not work anymore. And yeah, sure enough, just nothing. Great. So do we seriously have a bad LAN port on this thing? That's bad. You gotta be kidding me, man. All right, let's try Wi-Fi. At least Wi-Fi works. Cool. But let's go back and check out what system software we're on here. So we're on 11.0, which is not the latest, but it's fairly recent. Okay. But let's go ahead and pop a disc inside. So no game inside, no free game. But we've got Gran Turismo Sport here, which is a PS4 game. So let's pop this in the disk drive, and hopefully it pulls it in properly, and okay, that's surprising coming from GameStop. A lot of times they send me consoles that just like don't pull the games in all the way. I gotta push them in myself, but it is pulling in. Let's go ahead and see if it reads up. Sure enough, hallelujah, it's reading up. Wow. So guys, something to note here is that I did update the PS4 to the latest system software. I also signed in, so that's a good sign. Console's not banned, but I came back to my LAN connection here and it's still giving me the same error, just not working at all. And I've blown out the port and everything, and just nothing. All right, so that's great. But let's go ahead and go back and actually boot up the game now. Let's play around a little bit and just make sure it runs for a while and doesn't overheat or anything. All right, guys, the game is working fine here, and it seems to be pushing out some decently hot air, so I'm satisfied with that for now. Let's go ahead and turn this console off, though, and move on to the Days of Play Edition console, and hopefully that one works. All right, guys, plugged in. Let's see if it turns on. Got life and free games? Nope. All right, so we are booted up here. Let me go ahead and set this thing up, and let's go ahead and start with the network connection. We'll see if the LAN port works here. Yep, I think it worked fine because I just skipped past that part with my LAN cable plugged in. And yeah, booted up here, going to network connection, testing internet connection. Let's go ahead and verify. And yep, yeah, so LAN port works fine on this console. So that console just straight up has a bad LAN port. Dude, it's seriously always something in GameStop. Even when they do it like pretty well, they still mess something up. It's just seriously every time. Let's check out the system info here and see what version we're on. So 11.0, so fairly recent. Let's go ahead and pop a game inside though and see if it reads up. Wait, hold on. Wait a second. What was that noise? Listen to this. There's like a weird metal noise at the end of that disc pull in there. I don't. It is reading though, so I guess if it works, it works. That was weird though. But anyways, guys, the console is reading the game, so we'll boot that up in here in just a second. But by the way, I did sign into my profile, and it looks like it's not banned or anything, which is a good sign. But yeah, let's boot up the game and make sure it runs. All right, guys, so game is working here, but I do have some gripes with the controller. Not a huge deal, but let me just show you. Now, first of all, you already saw the touchpad is scratched up, which is, again, not a huge deal, but just always disappointing to see them intentionally scratched stuff. But the part that's a little bit more annoying is it looks like the third-party stick they used to replace the old stick is kind of crappy, because like there's some major friction around the edges right there. So when you're, especially when I'm steering like in this game right here, I feel it like big time over here. It's like it's just rubbing against something. So kind of annoying. Not a huge deal again, but it's always something. Now, guys, before we get into the teardown, which the teardown, it's not great, but I wanted to mention another relevant point that kind of hammers home the weirdness that GameStop is doing now. So if you remember a few months ago, GameStop started up this whole retro thing where they deemed certain GameStop stores as retro stores, where they'll start selling, you know, PS2, PS1, NES games, that sort of thing. And the weird part about it is the retro stores really did not have that much retro stuff. But guys, you will not believe this. I went into my local GameStop recently, which is not a retro store, and sure enough, we walk in, they have more retro stuff at the non-retro store than GameStop has at the retro store. Like, dude, nothing about what they're doing makes sense. But guys, let's go ahead and get into the teardown now. So guys, I had the console coming apart, and I gotta say, it's pretty clean. Like, looking at the case here, I really see no dust and grime anywhere. And even inside the case, you can see the fan here is very clean. You can see the heatsink is very clean. Now, the one thing I will note is I just got this power supply out, and the Wi-Fi antenna cable is just kind of dangling around in here and not plugged in, which is even more confusing because it was the LAN port that didn't work on this console, whereas the Wi-Fi did actually work. But you know, the Wi-Fi can still work if it's not connected to the antenna. It'll just like basically use that little port as an antenna. It's not a good antenna, but it'll work. But what I really want to do here is get down to the LAN port at least and just see if there's anything sketchy going on around it, and see if there's, I don't know, see if it's damaged or anything. So let's keep going. But guys, going down further, I think we may have found our issue now. Let me just take a step back though and show you that this is the back of the motherboard right here. So you can see our HDMI, Ethernet port, that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and flip this over and take a look right down here. And the first thing you notice is this Ethernet port looks all sorts of melted and just jacked up, like somebody, I don't know, had a soldering iron over there, or maybe a heat gun and was just heating that up inadvertently. I don't know. And then taking a closer look at these traces here, even those traces look like they could be damaged. So that makes sense as to why our Ethernet port is not working at all. Now, I'm not sure what they did around here because there's just tons of like dried up flux everywhere. At least that's what it looks like to me. Maybe they replaced the HDMI port. Maybe they were trying to fix the Ethernet port. I don't know, but they definitely did something down here and jacked up the LAN port. So it's just like wild because they actually cleaned the whole thing, but then the LAN port's just broken. It's like, at least that one's not critical. You can use Wi-Fi, but still disappointing, especially when you're paying over market value for a limited edition console. So yeah, let's go ahead and open up the other console now though. Now guys, I have the Days of Play console apart, and this one is weird. Let me explain why. So first of all, we have our top plate, which looks pretty normal. It's actually pretty clean on the bottom, which is good to see. Then we get to the bottom piece, and this metal piece just looks weird, right? But let's keep going. So we get down to the console itself, and yeah, you can probably tell what's going on here. You can see some stains there. All of these white pieces are stained yellow. If you get close to it, basically this console's been in a home with cigarette smoke, and you can just see the residual of it. It leaves your console yellow and nasty. There's actually still some residual like dust right there, but I will say they did a nice job of cleaning it out, because in general I don't really see much of that cigarette smoke dust. I mean, even flipping over to the other side where we have the power supply looks pretty clean. You can see the heatsink down there looks pretty clean as well, and I've seen some nasty heat sinks from GameStop. I'll show some B-roll on the screen of yeah, ones they did not clean out. So props to GameStop for actually cleaning these consoles out. Now, what did GameStop do to this console? Because it's refurbished, they opened it up, they cleaned it out, so they probably did something on the inside. Well, here's my theory. You can see here on top of the disk drive, there is some like gunk left here. It's not, I don't think it's thermal paste. It might be thermal paste, either that or putty or something. It's just like something left over there, like they just forgot to clean it up. So they're definitely doing something with the disk drive. But yeah, this console's not the prettiest, and if you smell it, it definitely smells like cigarette smoke, and you can get a whiff of it as the fans are blowing out the back. But guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below what you think about GameStop's refurbishment of these PS4s, and guys, I'll see you next time.